I have seen, what I have taken in the last lecture. The session was, I haven't uploaded this onto your drive. Today morning, I just did that. But if, what I have taken was like, at least the introduction between introduction of process builder, and majorly like what are the differences between the process builder and the workflows. The good part of this is like, I haven't taken any use cases for that. So it was just a theoretical thing. I don't think there's any meaning to repeat the same thing once again. So because now this session is already onto your drive, you can just go and watch it from there, and you could going to find the differences, right? Let me now directly branch to the use cases, and let's see how we can exactly create the process builders. And I'm having this use case with us, like, configure a process to send the email notifications to the contact persons upon creating a new contact record in the object. So it is something like, if you go to a contact object and there you create a new contact record, like example, this one, if I go and if I create a new, for example, Ashley James. Now this contact record, if I would be creating this, right? So onto this particular email ID, what you have entered in the section of email, this person should get an email that your contact is being created, something like this. Now, understand one thing. Whenever we are sending, whenever we are trying to send an email notification, we must have something called as a template. As in step number one, you must have a corresponding email template, right? With all those merge fields and everything, which would capture the data of, like, what is the first name, what is the last name, and everything. All of the details, what this user interface would require. It would ask you to enter the details like phone, home phone, mobile, right? Whatever you wanted to include in that email, you first of all should have one corresponding email template for that. And second would be like, here is one additional step in the process builder. There is one additional step to create an email alert. Now, this actually was a part of workflow, all right? Whenever we try to send an email notification, we design an email notification with the workflows. So in the workflow, it was a part. During the course of creation of email notifications, right? We simultaneously also create email alert. But here in the process builder, these are the two additional steps, right? It's a separate step that in the step number one, you first of all would require to create an email template so that it could have a required subject and the body of that email mentioning all those merge fields, whatever you want. And in an additional step, you also would require to create the email alert. You're going to understand this, don't worry. What is this? And when I come to this user interface where we would create this email alert, you will going to understand this. Don't worry. And in step number three, I'm going to, in the process builder, I'll go to that user interface by which we could create a process builder. So let's first of all go to the email template section, and let's see whether we already have any email template corresponding to contact, right? So I would going with communication templates, and I'll go with classic email template. We stored everything inside 208 HR email template, this folder. This was a custom folder that we have created. Oh, somebody has raised hand. Who's this? No one? All right. It's somebody wanted to ask something. I see a notification that somebody has raised a hand. Who is this? Yes, Chetna, I'll give you this. You can unmute. Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
How is your health, sir?
Still going on. Still fine.
Okay. So actually, previous class I have not attended, and you have just started from the new one, no? So I'm not getting anything.
I mean, probably
So
you
today,
joined a
if I
little
am
late to
attending
this.
today's class, I'm not able to gain something actually.
That is what I just have announced. Probably you just have joined, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
That's
Before
the
3 to 4.
reason. That's the reason. I just have announced one thing, that this was the session. I mean, I have taken. This was the session that I have taken. It was like an introductory session about what is a process builder, and majorly how what are the differences between process and workflow. And today morning before joining to this class, I just have uploaded that session. Let me show you that one. I have uploaded that into your drive. So see, it was just a theoretical session. You can go it by today. I mean, before going with this, and this is new for everybody. Don't worry. I just have given an introduction, like how exactly your process builder is differed from the workflows, right? That is what I have explained. So over here you can see this is getting converted right now because I just have uploaded this, right? But you can go with this session, and it's a small session. It's a small session, like only of 23 minutes, as you can see, right? So you can before watching, I mean, before going with this, you can definitely go with this, have an introduction about what a process builder can do and how exactly it is being deferred with the workflows. That is what I have explained, right? I have not taken any use case. This is the first thing what I'm taking right now. So as an part of example, I haven't taken anything in the last session. This is your first session, and it's first session for everybody. Those who have attended, those who have not attended. It's for the first time. All of you are solving something by using a process builder. So this is what I'm explaining. I'm explaining it this for the first time. Now, okay with this, everyone? All right. So the use case is like, we are about to send an email notification. I mean, we wanted to send emails automatically. This we already have completed. If you remember, we designed the same thing, something of the same pattern, but with the workflows. Now I'm trying to do the same thing. I mean, we wanted to send an email automatically when something should happen. Using the workflows also, you committed the same thing. But in the workflow, it was like, event should occur, then action would be fired. And as in part of event, you can select create and every time it is edited, create and any time it is edited, meeting the subsequent, whatever. So a workflow, I mean, using the workflow also, if I go back and if I just put, if I'll see, yeah, so this was something like, you also have achieved this with the process, with the workflow, like configure a workflow to notify, acknowledge, or send an email to the lead person. That time we solved it for the lead object, that if in the lead object, if anyone create a new lead record, then that particular lead person should be get notified by using an email. So how we do this, we first of all have designed everything, like the object name was lead. I mean, on the lead, we created a workflow. Then we must have a email template, because whenever you are trying to send an email, you obviously should have a corresponding email template, right? So we go to the email template section, and when we see over there, did we have any email template? I don't remember. I think we don't have it. So what we did, like, step number one in there as well, what we did is like, we first of all have created an email template, right? We created this email template over there. This complete, we created email template. And then in the step number two, we directly created the workflow. So email alert was a part of workflow. Here there are two steps. I mean, the step number one is same as here as well. In the step number one, you first of all would require to have an email template. That is what I'm trying to say you, that see, here also, I mean, you are trying to do the same thing, but with the process builder, but for a separate object. This time you are creating is for the contact object. So even though whatever you are creating it for any object, you first of all should have an email, a corresponding email template for that. That is what I'm trying to look it out. Okay, do we have any email template regarding contact object? So for the new case, for the hiring manager, for the lead, for the position, we do have these two is something I would require to check. Custom email template. This is on the candidate object. I wanted something on contact. Do we have it or do we not have it? This is on again on the hiring manager. All right. So this implies to us that we don't have any email template right now for the contact. So obviously I would first, in the first step, I would require to create an email template, because if I wanted to send an email notification, I should have an email template. And this we already did it. I mean, this is not the first time, of course, right? When you solve that example with the process builder, with the workflow, sorry, that time also you did the same thing, right? This was something what we achieved. So even in this example as well, Even in this example, we check for did we have any email template. So for this example also, we did the same thing. Only one thing was like, when you are creating a workflow, whenever you are creating a workflow, so that time creating an email alert is a part of this. When you are creating a workflow, the email alert, creating an email alert is a part of workflow. When I mean, we how we create the workflow, we start by one page, we branch to another page, we branch to another page. So creating a workflow is like, it would take 2 to 3 different steps, and you do something on page number 1, like that is what I have described in the last lecture. If you go and you will watch that, you're going to understand. Okay, in the page number 1, you just select the object on which you are creating. In the page number 2, you do something. In the page number 3, again you do something. And then in the page number 4, maybe you select the actions and all that. So how a workflow looks like to be. The workflow is something like you do something on a page number 1, then you click on to the next, you go to the next page, and there you do something, and then you click on to the next, and there. So it's like, it's like branching from one page to another, and to another. So during that branching itself, you create email alert. So creating an email alert was actually a part of workflow rule. Here in the process builder, it is not a part. You exceptionally have to create that. So you would going to understand. Don't worry. Let me take you to that page. And when I'll come to that page, you yourself would understand ki, "Acha, haan, this was something I have seen this in the workflow." But right now, it's a separate thing. This has been separated, nothing else. So I would first of all create an email template. Step number 2, I would create an email alert, and then step number 3, I'll create a process filter. All right. So let me do that. So I would be creating, I mean, obviously I have this everything. I'm just going to copy and paste it. So I'll create a new template of the type text. And then I'll give the name as, make it available for use, new contact record creation notification template. All right. So, and as soon as a new contact record would be created, and this email template would be going to use to notify that. All right. And I would copy the same thing into the description as well. And to the subject and body, we already have it. So I'll just going to copy this contact, first name and the last name. Congratulations, your contact record has been created successfully. In the email body, I'll go with this. Up to over here. And let me do the necessary alignments and all that, because this is not an HTML email template. So it would obviously require manually adjustments of everything. Oh my God. Rest, everything seems to be okay. So we can go with this, and I just save this. So this is the email template that I have created. I'm going to use that. Now that was our step number 1. I mean, in the step number 1, you should have an email template. So that is what we did. In the step number 2, I would be creating an email alert. All right. How to create that? Let's go with this. I mean, the same setup. You just would require to go and build and create. In the workflow actions, you'll have email alert. At this option would give you, like, from here itself, you are going to create workflows. From here itself, you are going to create approval process, the flows and the process builder, everything, all of the automation part, that is available over here in the workflows approval. That you must go to setup, build and create. Inside create itself, when you go with the workflows and approval, here you are going to find every automations, workflow, approval process, flows, except trigger. Trigger is something else. And the process builder, and then email alerts also. You're going to find it over here. It's right. So I would be opening this in a separate tab. These all are the email alerts that we have created in the past, but we haven't created it from here. Actually, this every email alert, what you see, we created this from the workflows. So that's why, you don't recognize when you come into, but right now, see, as soon as I press this new button, new email alert, and you come to this user interface, from here, you could identify this. From here, you could identify. Let me try to show you. Let me try to show you. See, if I scroll it down, do you remember I asked you guys to give me 5 email IDs, and I just entered it over here. Probably right now, by looking into this interface, you could recognize that this was something I did in the past as well. But this page, I mean, how you come to this page? Actually, you were not creating email alert. Basically, you were creating workflow that time, and in the action, you selected email alert. In the action, workflows have 4 actions. What are those? Sending of an email, then updating a field, and sending of the outbound messages, and assigning a new task. These are the only 4 actions. These are the only 4 actions you could achieve with the workflows. So when you were being, when you selected in the first example, probably you selected sending the email alert, right? So during that action, you come to this page. So you actually were what you were doing. You were not creating email alert. Rather, you were doing something onto workflow. And when you branch, when you were being branched from one page to another, you come to this page. You filled out everything over here, and then you simply select the save and next. So you don't recognize that indirectly you are creating something called as an email alert. But in the process builder, this is an additional step. This is an additional step. It's not a part of process builder. You, in the first step, you have to create email template. In the second step, you'll have to create, for that email template, you also would require to create the alert. And in the step number 3, I'm going to create the process builder. All right, let's do this. So I would be like new contact creation notification. That was template. It's an alert. It's an alert. This is my naming convention. You can go and create your own as well, no problem. Now here you would have to select that email template and this object as well. So I would be selecting this for contact. Contact object, right? This email alert, I'm designing it for the contact. Now let me select that email template. So we just now have created this template. What is this? New contact creation notification template. I would be selecting the same one. I would be selecting the same one. So it is there inside 208 new contact record creation notification, this one, right? Rest everything, we did it in the past. From this, select the email, bring it to the recipients. If you, right now I will not ask it, but if you remember, I used to ask 5 separate email IDs in the chat, that everything. All right. So when everything's set to go, yes, now I would save this. So that was literally my step number 2. In the step number 1, I created a template, and step number 2, I'll create a notification and alert. And then step number 3, in the step number 3, I would go and now I would create a process builder. So again, you have to go with this option, workflows and approval. And from here, you have to select the process builder. All right. So this is all we are having right now. This was one of few of the sample process that I have created just to show you like how exactly a process builder looks like to be. And I haven't activated any one of them. So both of them are inside the inactive state. Let me now create a new process builder. All right. So it would, first of all, it would prompt you one message that instead of giving, instead of designing your automation with this process builder, you can try to do the same thing with the flows. But right now we have to ignore this unless and until it has completely decommissioned. So we'll have to understand this. So I would be going with continue in the process builder. And I'm giving the name as like, new contact creation notification process, right? Now, in the description as well, just copy the same thing and paste it into the description. All right. Now see, we are having 3 options over here. When a record changes, when a platform event, and when it is invoked by another process. I would explain you all 3 of them. See, every time whenever you are creating, you have to go with this when a record changes. All right. But what are these 2 options are used for? See, I'll tell you this. What does it mean by a platform event? In the Salesforce, in the Salesforce, we are having we are having like, mm, something called as a platform event. Now, what is this platform event? Actually, when you go with the Einstein, Salesforce Einstein, if you remember, I mean, when in our early days, when we were learning, right, when we were being learning the Salesforce, I was giving you the introduction. Let me go back. Let me take you to the different clouds of the Salesforce, right? Yeah. When I was explaining you this, I mean, how many different clouds we are having. So in the Salesforce, we are having something called as an Einstein cloud, right? Einstein. Salesforce Einstein. Now, see, what is the Salesforce Einstein actually do? It's a separate managed packages. It's a separate cloud. It's a separate feature of Salesforce. Now, that completely deals with like in IoT's project, Internet of the Things. So, what is IoT, by the way? See, IoT is a kind of artificially intelligent technology where devices used to communicate with another device. All right, like if in a simple words, if I wanted to explain you, now for example, you might heard about the few of the advanced technologies like the advanced homes, and people in US they are having, and in so many countries they are having these concepts. They are highly what to say, they are using very smart gadgets and all thing. They're having very smart devices with them, right? They used to connect everything with their Apple. I mean, with the phone, they are having all the laptops and their home appliances as well. They are interconnected. Now, see, for example, let's consider an example of smart home. So it used to have so many of different gadgets, and it used to have so many of different kind of devices that are being interacting with each other, and it merely don't require any human being to give any command. So it used to sense everything, like it used to sense the atmosphere and the temperature. It used to sense like when should a coffee should be get prepared and everything, right? And maybe like when somebody wake up, so that water heater should be sensed, and it would heat up the water, because the person should be wanted to go and freshen up. So everything that is being an automated. So even Salesforce is working in that platform as well. So that is still is it's a part of research, and Salesforce is developing so many things day by day, month by month. In every release, it is developing Einstein. But at least we are, I mean, a good part of the Salesforce is like it's into this technology. We are not out of that artificial intelligence technology. Yeah, but that is something which is Salesforce still is developing. So there are so many intelligent products which Salesforce would deliver. So when I mean, when a device, particularly in case of IoT, Internet of Things, when particularly a device used to has an interaction with another device. Okay, so when a device would communicate with another device, so that time it would generate something called as platform message. It would generate something called as a platform message. So when you are designing a process builder, particularly for a Salesforce Einstein product, that time you have to go with this platform message, platform event. For example, one device used to communicate with another device. So if a platform message is received, if a platform event would occur, actually this is, it's a combination of two things. One part of this is an automation. The second part is platform event. So whenever an event would occur, for example, event, if I ask you how many different events are there in workflow, you could respond to me that there are 3 events: created, and every time it is updated, and created and anytime it is edited, whatever, right? So that is what an event responds to. Now, if I add one term into this, platform event, what is a platform event? All right, you know what is an event. Event is something that happens. Event is something that happens. You create a record, that's an event. You updated a record, that's again an event. All right. So event means what? Event is something that has happened to some of the records. Maybe a record is getting created inside any object. Maybe an existing record of an object is getting updated. That's an event. That's an event. All right. So you at least know half portion of this. What is that event? Now, if I talk about platform event, so platform basically responds to like, something that is happening in case of an Einstein product. That is what is termed as platform event. When a sensor senses something and it is delivering, so that's an event occurred. And the message what is generated is something called as platform message. So if you work with Einstein products, which is very rare, but if you, I mean, see, I'm telling you something, what could be a futuristic thing. And if you are really interested in working in this in Einstein product, there are some again a specialized trainings you have to take for Salesforce Einstein, but it's a very good area where the researchers are very promoted. Researchers are promoted, and Salesforce itself is developing so many products for the Einstein. So Flow itself has having so many things, but this was something that was introduced to an option was introduced in the process builder itself. A platform message is received. So when you are designing an automation process, particularly for IoT, particularly for Salesforce Einstein, that time you are going to select this. But now, because everybody of us, every one of us knows that this is going outdated. So instead of going with this process builder, we go with flows, and flows have so many different things for Einsteins, right? But that was the option we used to select to perform, to perform something with the platform events. So we used this anyways. And second is like, when it is invoked by another process. So I told you in the past, in the last lecture, sorry, not past, that one process builder could also call another process builder. You could do something called as nesting. You could do something called as chaining of process builders. This was not possible with the workflows. Workflow doesn't have any capability that it could call another workflow. So this was not possible with workflows. But yes, there's one possibility that one process builder could call another process builder. So if this is something you wanted, so you go with the third option. All right. But every time when we are going to create, we'll go with something a record is created. All right, we'll go with this, and every time we'll do something, we'll only is going to select this option, because we are not dealing with Einstein product, nor even we are going to see this case where a process could call another process. So we are going with only a record changes. And with this, let me save it. And now see, this is how we are going to create a process builder. On the same canvas, it looks like to be a diagram. It looks like to be a flow chart. And there's no branching from one page to another. This everything I have explained in the last session. So that's the reason. Yes, it's very important. If you wanted to add an introduction of the process builder, you have to go with that. All right. So in the step number 1, you'll have to select the object. So I click onto this. Another component is being loaded. These understand. These are this process builder has been designed using something called as an aura. Now Aura itself is getting replaced with LWC, Lightning Web Component. And that is the only reason, process builder is getting outdated. Otherwise, it was into the commission. But this is because it has been built up on the Aura, and now Salesforce has motivated everything to be built up on LWC, and that's the reason it is getting outdated. So in workflow, what happens is like, you branch from one page to another. Here, there is no branching of pages. You are still onto the same page. I mean, when I go back to the setup, for example, right? And let me try to show you once again. Let's go with create, workflows and approval, and the process filter. And now select new contact creation notification. All right. Okay. And see, you just concentrate onto this, the URL part, right? When I add the object, nothing has been changed. I mean, you are onto the same page. Only one components get loaded. So this is what, like, this is why process builder is more efficient, because it doesn't branch you from one page to another page. On the same canvas, you are going to select everything. All right. So add object, and this object which I'm designing is contact. So I would be selecting contact from this list only when the record is created, or when the record is created or edited. So in our use case, I mean, if you examine the use case, configure the process to send the email notification to the contact person upon creating a new contact record. So it is something like, if you edit, it doesn't have to be. So I would be selecting only when a record is created, and I'm not selecting record is created and edited, right? And if you go to the advanced section, it would ask you, I mean, if you wanted this to be happen multiple times, we don't have any such necessity. I'll just skip that part and I'll save it. See, the object is being selected, right? The object is selected. Now add the criteria. Add the criteria. If you remember the workflow, there was something called as rule conditions. And selecting at least one rule condition was mandatory over there. right? Here you just have to give the name. Giving the name is important. If you wanted certain conditions, go with this. You wanted a formula to be get evaluated, design that formula. If you simply just wanted to execute, you don't wanted anything to be get checked, then go with no criteria. That is what a benefit. See, difference. Try to understand the differences. When we are creating a workflow, there it was like, you'll have to select at least one rule condition. You cannot skip that part. You cannot add the action without giving a rule condition. But here it is possible. Here it is possible. I could add a condition. I could check for a formula. Both these two possibilities were there as well. But then, the third one, like without seeing for anything, you can add the actions. That was not possible with the workflows. Here it is all the possible, but I have one condition to be get checked. All right. What is that? See, we are trying to fire an email. We are trying to find an email. All right. Whenever a new example, whenever a new contact would be created, right? We are firing an email. So an email is not a mandatory field inside contact. So I should check, because we are having a limited set of email alerts, right? Only 15, if I'm not wrong. So I would I would insert one condition, check for the email field of contact, right? We should check for something. What is that? I would be checking that email inside the contact. There's a field called as email. All right, email field. And that should not equals to what? That should not equals to blank. That should not equals to blank. For blank, we are having one global constant. In workflow, what you do, you just keep it blank. You just keep it blank, and this would represent blank. But in process builder, you have to select something called as the global constant. What is that global constant? Global constant null. Global constant null. This you have to use. Null represents what? Nothing. And workflow, it was a little bit easy if you consider it to be. But see, this is something global constant. You are also going to use it inside the flows. So it's better to understand that this is something which is good, because the same thing you are going to use in the flows as well. So now if I put this condition, it becomes like, contacts email ID should not equals to what? Should not equals to null. It should not equals to blank. It should not equals to null. It must have some values. All right. If this condition were true, then only fire the action, otherwise not. If you wanted to add some more condition, you can add them. You can add them like this, right? If you wanted to add few more conditions, right? I'm good with this one only. I'll save it. Now see, the second one is also highlighted. A condition. What is that condition? Contact email ID should not equals to blank. Now, if this is not equals to blank, now go with the actions. You're having both actions, immediate and scheduled. Schedules are time dependent actions. All right, both of them. So this has to be done immediately, right? This has to be done. But so it's an email alert. Email alert. We have to fire an email as soon as a new record inside contact would be created. So the nature is immediate, so I'll go with immediate. Inside immediate, I could add the action. Inside scheduled, you first of all have to create the time triggers that and inside a time trigger, you can add the actions. All right, this you can try. And inside immediate, I'll just go with add action. And see, one beautiful thing, if you have seen over here, which is obviously is not with the case with the workflow. I mean, if as soon as I created this section, see, another section also have been created over here. Let me try to highlight it for you. This. So it actually means, if this condition is true, then go with this action. But if it is false, then you have another, you can check for something else. And that is not possible with the workflows. In workflow is something like, if your rule condition, I told you that giving one rule condition was mandatory over there. So if that rule condition is true, action would be fired. But what if my condition get false, your workflow would stop. It is something like, if your condition is true, then only action would be fired. If the condition is false, workflow would not do anything. But here it is not like it is something like if else. If this condition is true, then do this. If this condition is false, else. else go with second section. In the second section, you again have if. So it is something like we called it in the programming called as else if. Else if this condition is true, go with this action. What if this is false? You are going to see some more sections over here. You're going to see some more. I'll show you some nested and the real time. I'll give you some real time examples for this. Don't worry. Yeah, I've designed few of the process builder in the past where I nested the conditions. If this condition true, go with this. If it is false, go with this. If it is even false, go with that. So I have created that a kind of complicated process builder. So I'm going to show you that as a real time example. Don't worry. So this is one thing which is again a good part of process builder, that you could check for the multiple conditions. Now, based on the multiple conditions, you could perform multiple different types of actions, which is not possible with workflows. Workflow is something like, if this condition true, do that. If this condition is false, don't do anything. Don't do anything. There's only one condition. You have to check for that. If that is true, perform the action. If that is false, just stop it over here. And workflow doesn't go any to check any for any another thing, but which is really possible in the process builder. All right. So you can, if this condition is true, I'm executing this. Otherwise, I could impose certain more conditions. And based on those other conditions, I could plan for something else. But that is merely not possible with workflows. All right. Anyways, I'll go with add action. What I wanted. These all are the actions. What you can in the process, in the workflow, there were only 4 actions. Here there are merely 8 to 11 options. I don't. All right. I'm going with email alerts. What I wanted to fire, I'm firing an email. Give the name. All right. Name is something which you have to give everywhere. Send email maybe to contact person. I'm giving the name like this. You can give here you have to, I'll give you like here you have to type the name of email alert. So for this particular part, people used to find it a little bit tricky. I'll give you one best way to do this. Go to that email alert what you have designed. Copy the unique name. See the unique name, not that description. Unique name. Just copy it, and paste it over here. And wait for some time. You're going to find a name just below to this, right? Select that. That's it. That's it. All right. What I did, let me repeat it once again. Go to that email alert. Go to that email alert. Copy the unique name over here. Don't copy the description. Copy the unique name. All right. Go to the process builder. Just paste it. Wait for some time. You're going to see the name. The name is pop up over here. Just select that. Nothing else. And save it. All right. So now it's like, I'm creating a process builder on contact object. I check for one condition because I wanted to check. If I don't want it to check, I can even select and I can fire the action. That is also possible. But I have to check one condition. What the email field inside the contact object, it should not equals to null. It should not equals to blank. Now, if this condition is true, I'm setting up one action over there. I'm sending one email alert. All right. I'm sending an email alert over there. Now, when everything is set up, right, just activate this. Just activate this. All right. So now if you go to view all process, you can see that new contact creation notification is being set up, and this is in the active state. Right. Now we can test it. How to test it? You'll obviously would require to go and create one contact record. So I would be refreshing this interface. And I'll be selecting that test. Contact record. Creation alert from process builder, right? I'm giving the email ID as sftc @gmail.com. So it merely requires this is only these two things. If you wanted, I could enter rest other part as well. And let me try to save this. Now let me go to that email ID. Oh, it would open Drive, not the email. See, congratulations. test contact, the name what you have given, right? This is the email ID. I mean, sorry, this is the record ID and this is the name. And because I haven't given anything over here, that's the reason you will not find it. Otherwise, if I, if while creation, if I give all these details, that obviously would be pop up over here because we are having according merge fields. But I just wanted to test whether the email is getting fired properly or not. And this, see, this is okay. All right. So this is how we can design, automations with the process builder. So today, go with this example, and then in the next session, you are having few assignments as well. So configure the process to send the email notification for the regarding candidate object. I think for the candidate, we already have an email template, so you can use that same one. There's no need to design, and you also have that email alert as well. You can do. I mean, you just don't require to create anything for this. Just require to create process builder. For the case of it, I'm not sure whether you are having any email template or not. If you have it, just use it. If you don't have it, in the step number 1, create a corresponding email template for the case. And then in the step number 2, create an email alert. But for the candidate, I think you already have both of them. So go with these 2 assignments. And in the next session, I would showing you how exactly we can create a record. Because with the workflows, you learn how we can update the things, like update the record in the same object, update the record in the cross object. Both of them we have seen here. Also we are going to see that things. I mean, after this it would be like field update action in the same object in the cross object. But creating a record was not possible with the workflows. So this is something we are going to understand in the next session. That's all for today. Let me first of all give you this command. Yeah. Now, if you wanted to ask anything, please go ahead. Any questions?
Hello.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir, if I missed it. Can you please explain Salesforce is Steam
Einstein. Einstein is that,
Einstein? Sorry.
yeah. Salesforce Einstein is that cloud of Salesforce, where we develop whatever we develop, particularly, we develop it for artificially intelligent. I mean, there's a branch of computer science called artificial intelligence, where the products, they are more intelligent, they are more automated, and they merely don't require anything for I mean, called as human interference. Things what we do for the robotics, things what we do for neural networks, things what we do for artificial intelligence. So Salesforce is having a dedicated cloud for that, where you could build up some intelligent products. So that is what basically Salesforce Einstein actually do. Right? Instantly, in a conventional CRM, what we generally do is for sales, service, and marketing. We wanted to boost up the things during, I mean, we wanted to improve sales process. We wanted to improve service process, marketing process. That's a different purpose. That's completely what does a CRM do. But with the Einstein, it's a complete different set. It's a complete different set of product development domain, where whatever you do is not a typical CRM. It's actually something related to highly intelligent products, and that's a very good thing. I mean, it's a very good thing. But uh, that is what that Einstein actually do. Like if I can give you one real example, it would be like Tesla Motors. Tesla Motors. I mean, Elon Musk, who owned this company, and he's a very dynamic person. He just now he did something with the Twitter. Everybody knows that. So that person holds a company called as Tesla Motors. And Tesla is one of the client of Salesforce. Tesla is using Salesforce Einstein for their so many integral developments. So they are using that. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Right. Yes. Any other questions, guys? All right then.